Brother Kadash giving our praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Kadash. So the question here is your camp order based on the Mafia, right? What do I mean by that, right? Of course, everybody's gonna say, "Well, no, it's based off us following the Lord, the law, statutes, commandments." When I say your order, I'm talking about your ranking system. Your order, as far as your ranking system go, is your ranking system based off the same way that the Mafia set up their ranking system? Do you not see the similarities? We got to start making videos like this, because what you have right now amongst us that call ourselves Israel, that call ourselves to be in the truth, what you have right now is delusion, strong delusion that's going on. And people can't see the simple things that's right in front of them, right? So ask yourself, whoever's the leader of your camp, is it possible for another man to work his way up to being the leader? I'm talking about of the whole entire camp. Or is the same people that was the leader for the last 20, 30 years in the same position? What are they doing to keep their power? Just ask yourself some of these things, and then look at your ranking system. Where did your ranking system come from? Because if we look at the ranking system of the Mafia, we understand that the way they did things ultimately came to an end. It caused it adultery. They start snitching on each other. They start murdering each other. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the order or the ranking system, let's say, of the Mafia. And then we're going to ask ourselves, are we in a camp that has this same exact ranking system? Is it similar? Do you see the similarities of the ranking system of the camp that you're in compared to the ranking system of the Mafia? You see what I'm saying? Rather than what the Lord tells us in the Bible, which we're going to get some precepts, what the Lord tells us how to be in this truth in the Bible, right? So right here you have the Mafia family tree. We all know this, right? So we understand that they say the truth came out of New York and Harlem, which is a whole bunch of guys that were, regular guys at one point, and they probably had affiliates with gangsters on the street, which those gangsters, especially the so-called Negro, the black man, got a lot of things that they, a lot of their ways from the Mafia. They was copying off the Mafia, right? And how do you have it? You have a boss, you have an underboss, you have a concierge, which is like a guy that's like, well, I'm going to get to the definition of E once. He like professionalizes and he helps the boss in a certain type of way, right? So he really works for the boss. Then you have the capos, right, which are over the soldiers, right, then you have the associates. So break that down, right? So is your camp, so the boss of your camp would be like your apostle, right? Here, let me see. Look up something real quick so we can actually go to the definition. Your boss, let me see what website I went to, would be like your apostle. Your underboss will be considered your up and coming apostles. Do you see the similarities here? Right? Your capos will be the leaders of the camps. And then you see you got different capos because you got different camps in different cities. And you have the leaders of those camps. Your soldiers will be the members. And then your associates will be the guys that's standing on the island behind the camera for 2-3 years, begging and hoping and waiting till the spirit hits those of the camp to say that you're allowed to be a member. Do you see the similarities, man? Open your fucking eyes up. Do you see the similarities? And this is why we're still stuck here in Mystery Babylon to this day, man. Because the men worshiping shit, man. Now, you see the associates, is guys that's trying to come into your camp. The soldiers are the members. And then you have a capo, which is the leader of the camp. Now, let's go. I'm trying to find here. Let me see. I'm trying to find the structure of the American Mafia. I'm trying to find a website that could go into details on what each one is, right? Now, you can't deal with anybody outside this circle. Doesn't that sound like a camp? You can't do no work, can't do no videos, you can't deal with nobody outside this circle because they're scared of what? They're scared of rats, or they're scared of agents coming in to the family. What does that sound? Doesn't that sound just like your camp? Well, you can't do this because there's agents. I'm just pointing out the similarities. Since we have a strong delusion that's going on in Israel, I'm just pointing out the similarities that's very similar to the mafia compared to some of these big camps in the way they set up their structures. Do you not see the similarities? Right? And then what happened? There's a famous camp. Well, I'll just say, man, what are we scared of, right? So, with the camp of GMS, right? Which I don't just talk about, don't we get on all the camps if they're being wicked. We just talking about wickedness. I'm just pointing out something, right? Don't shoot the messenger. But you guys hate the messenger because you don't want to look at the truth, man. You don't want to come to the light when people are pointing out these things. I'm just pointing out some similarities. Did they come at a point of time and said there was no new members? What does that remind you of? What a coincidence. That sounds just like the fucking mafia that stopped making made men. They had a time period where I'm gonna have to look it up to where they stopped making made men, meaning members. Right? And we're gonna go into that. So let's slow down a little bit. Let's go into some of the definitions or some of the that explains what these different positions are. So your associates, right? It says I want to get straight to the point because they got a lot of different stuff. It says, let me see. It says, in real life, though, the designation associate cover a wide range of individuals affiliated with but not actually belonging to the mafia. What's that? That's your members. That's your guys that's standing on that when you go ride past a camp, you might see a couple guys standing on the outside, right? They're not shoulder to shoulder with the other brothers. Those are your associates. They're affiliated with the camp. They come down. Brothers from the camp knows them. They know their YouTubes, but they're not officially a part of the camp yet. It says wannabe gangsters who have not yet been officially inducted into the mob are technically associates. Right? So they haven't been inducted into the mob, but they want to get into it, and they have to prove themselves for 2 years, 3 years, standing on the side on an island, raising their hand to bring out 1 or 3 precepts throughout the camp until brothers could really know them, and then they could become part of the camp, because there's always this fear tactic, which is a cult tactic of there's agents. I'm just pointing out the similarities. Then you have your soldiers. Who are your soldiers? Your soldiers are the members. Soldiers are worker bees of the organization, of the organized crime, right? These are men who collect debts, right? Intimidate witnesses and oversee illegal enterprises. This is with the mafia. But how does this liken to your group? Well, the soldiers are just the regular members of the group. They work, they do the hard work, they pick up the posters, they put down the posters, you see what I'm saying? They hold the camera, stuff like that. These are the regular members. They readers, they read, they may bring out some precepts here and there, but they're over the associates because they're actually members of the group. So they could go and put the group name as their YouTube. I'm just pointing out the similarities, man. Let's go down to the capos, right? The capos, or let's go up to the capos. Now, the capos is the middle management of the mob. Capos, short for caporonina, let's sound it out. Capor regimens are the appointed heads of the crew, right? Because that's the camp leader. He's the middle management for the apostles or the elders. You see what I'm saying? Because they can't actually be there in that city. Let's just say like St. Louis, they can't actually be there in St. Louis because they're in New York, but you have a leader there at the camp. I'm just pointing out the similarities. This is very odd, right? How this all matches up, right? It says that is group of 10 of 20 soldiers and comparable larger numbers of associates. Capos take a percentage of the earnings of the underlings and kick up a percentage of their own earnings to the boss or underboss. Capos are usually given responsibility for delicate tasks, right? Because they're the camp leaders, so they have that responsibility to lead everything at the camp. I'm just pointing out the similarities to the order of the mafia, but it's under the disguise of this is the true order and the true way of the Lord, and we're the true man of the Lord. But how is it so very similar to the mafia? And we know that the mafia, the way that the mafia had things, because the excuse is, well, a lot of them are Jakes. A lot of the mafia members were actually Israelites, and the things they were following, they was actually trying to follow the way of the Lord. But we know what their latter end was. So it couldn't be of the way of the Lord because it came to end. Doesn't the Bible say that? If it's roughly paraphrasing, if it's not of the Lord, it would come to an end. Well, did the mafia? They not what they used to be. They came to an end because of the order which you see on your screen that they had set up, which caused what? Adultery, murder, envy, them snitching on each other, ratting each other out. So you take that. See, guys are 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You take that, right? Growing up in New York, and you learn that way, and then you take that and you use that structure to control man, and then you mix it with the Bible and the truth, and then you say this is the way of the Lord, and then you use the same tactics that they use as far as no new members for a point in time, which is the same thing that the mafia did, but you use that as a structure in order to keep power and control a large group of men, rather than just following the way that the Lord told you to do it, which we're going to get into that. We're going to prove that, right? Now it says the concierge, right, is a cross between a lawyer, right? So he's like a professional that really works for the boss. A politician or human resource manager, like at high level, you know what I mean? At high level. And it's Italian for the consular. So the consigliere may counsel directly to the boss or the underboss of political things, or possibly like human resource management with big businesses or big money or anything like that, with the court systems or something like that. So how does that look like in your truth? Well, you got guys that really like seem like they get to skip the line, right? Because they had a lot of money, or they were able to set up schools or help get schools set up, buildings, or like Vocab Malone, you know what I mean? He get to run free. He gets to reign free and run free and do whatever he wants to do and say whatever he wants to. Nobody does anything to him, but brothers are actually breaking bread with him off YouTube, right, by doing work with him and setting up debates and shit like that. It's crazy, man. Let's keep going. I'm just pointing out the similarities. You got the underboss, right? This is your up and coming elders, or this is your elders, but your up and coming apostles, right? A young elder, shit like that, man, which is crazy. The underboss is effectively the executive officer of the mafia family. The boss whisper instructions to his ear, right? So you get your apostles. They whisper, they tell things. They communicate with the elders, and then those elders, whether they be the leaders of the camp or they communicate with the leaders of the camps, which communicates with the regular members of the camp, which communicates and tell the associates, the guys that's trying to get into the camps, what to do. I'm just pointing out the similarities. The underboss, so let's keep going, right? And the underboss ensures that his orders are carried out, right? In some families, the underboss is the boss's son. How many times have we seen that with camps, right? So let's go. If the boss, let's just say if the boss dies of old age or whatever, guess who steps up next? The up and coming apostles. So they're never going to step up into the position unless the apostles die or the end comes. They're going to be in those positions and have their power no matter what, right? And they do different tactics in order to keep that power, right? But you can never step in that position until they pretty much die, which is crazy. The boss or the Don, right? So that's what when I was talking about the Don, which is the same thing as the boss, right? The boss is the apostle of the camp, right? Now, there can never be the same apostles that it was the last 20 years. It's the same ones it is today. What a coincidence, right? It's crazy, man. A brother can't work his way up and he get in the top position. That can't happen. Right? Its most feared member of the mafia family is the boss or the Don. Sets policies, right? What is one policy? No new members, the same way the mafia did it. Issues commands, no Brady Bunch videos, and keep underlings in line by doing what? No Brady Bunch videos, setting out orders, fear tactics, like there's agents, so you can't do this and do that because there's agents and all that stuff. I'm just pointing out the similarities to the mafia. Am I wrong? Do you not see these exact same similarities? Right. So now let's look up what happened with the whole thing with the mafia not taking no new members. Let's see what pops up. A made man is a fully initiated member of the mafia, right? So if you're not, then that would make you an associate until you work your way in, right? Let me see. They got videos on it, but I don't want to pull up a video. Let me see. New York Times. Let me see if I could find something on when they stopped taking new members. We all know that happened, but I find something in writing that I could read. Right. It says for the first time since 1957, New York 5 mafia families have been authorized by the National Mafia Commission to initiate a new member according to law enforcement officials, right? It says the officials said that each family had been given permission to initiate 10 new members, but had been told to select them from men who were already moneymakers in the rackets, had no legal problems facing them, and were approved loyalty. So what happens? So the membership books were closed in 1957 to prevent gangsters who were informers for law enforcement agencies for gaining entry into mafia family. Oh my goodness. Do you not see that? So they closed the books, meaning that they wouldn't take no new members from the associates that were around because they wanted to prevent what? Informers of law enforcement, agents. Now, what camp comes to head that said we can't take no new members because there's agents that's joining the camp? Where did they get that from? Oh, you thought you were part of the camp, and you really so delusional that you thought that they got that from the Lord. That the Holy Spirit hit them to say no new members because of agents. That they got that from the Lord or the Bible. You don't read it in the Bible. Now I'm sitting here showing you this is where they got it from. This is where they got it from because the mafia did it. So they did it because the mafia did it. Because they're following the mafia. Right? So let's keep going. Right? So it says, it talks about some guy that testified in 1962. Right? It says about 6 weeks ago, the commission met with the greater New York area and approved the opening of the books on a limited scale. And then what happened with GMS, right? After I had a situation with GMS, you could go back and look up the situation. It seemed like not too long after, I was telling the guys, because I put GMS on the title of my name, and I was telling them, hey, I got permission from the elder. I talked to him. What the bam, they didn't believe it. And then what a coincidence, a couple months after, an apostle of GMS come out and said, hey, all you brothers, pretty much associates that's been around the camps like I have, like I was, or whatever, and you teaching the way that we teach what the bam, you could put GMS on your name. You are now members. I'm telling you right now, you are now members, and you could go out. But I'll put the video up of him saying this stuff on my YouTube, man. And I'm gonna try to find it at the end of this video. I'm gonna try to find it, right? Which goes back to what I was telling the dudes, but they condemned me. And then the apostle came out and said the same exact thing that I was telling them. But guess what they did after that? They opened the books up. It said, but it was on a limited scale. It said, yeah, you guys can now be a part on a limited scale. Now it seemed like they then closed the books back. You see how crazy that is? But you guys thought that was coming from the Lord, right? I'm showing you where it was coming from. The mafia, man. Now let's get some precepts and I'm going to try to find that video. Acts 5, verse 29. Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, we ought to obey God rather than men. So when does it become obeying men? Well, when you're following things that the Lord didn't say that we had to do, and you're condemning brothers and holding against brothers. You can't make Brady Bunch videos with members from different cities there's no law. That's not breaking the law, statute, and commandment. So if you hold it against me and kick me out because of it, now the members are following what a man said rather than what God said. Because you're kicking them out. You say the body, right? So you're kicking him out from the body because he didn't do something that you didn't want him to do. But it wasn't based off what was that the thing that you didn't want him to do, was it based off the law, statutes, and commandments of the Lord? Or was it based off your own feeling because what? And what was the reason? Because there's agents, which is the same thing the Mafia said, man. It's just a tactic in order to keep your power in the hands of the leaders. I'm just pointing out the similarities, man. Y'all can do what y'all want with it. I'm just pointing out the similarities. Let's jump to the book of Matthew. Let me see if I can find it right quick. 23, verse 8, which my Bible is kind of ripped up on this page. So I'll try to read it to the best of my abilities. It says, verse 8, verse 7, it says, "In greetings in the markets, and to be called a man, Rabbi, Rabbi. But be not ye called Rabbi, for one is your master, even a Mashiach, and all ye are brothers." So the Lord giving you the order. He's saying, look, it's not boss, underboss, capo, soldiers, associate. He's saying, look, the Lord is the boss, and the rest of y'all brothers. So it's two lines. The Lord, right? And then the rest of y'all are brothers. that's what it is. Of course, we understand with Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. Let's not play the semantics, right? It's your master, right? It says, "And call no man your father on earth." I done heard dudes of groups, right hand up, promise you. I done heard dudes of groups say, we look at the leaders of their groups as our spiritual fathers. This says, "Call no man on earth father," because there it says, "For one is your father, which is in heaven." He reading this Bible the same way I'm reading this Bible. This is in red leather. This is in the book of Matthew. But out his mouth, he's still calling these guys his spiritual father. So is he following the Bible? Because he should know better, right? He been in the truth longer. He knows this. He's the leader, right? He should know better, right? Or is he following man? Worshiping man. Following commandments of man. What's a commandment of man? A commandment of man is the Lord didn't command us to do this, but he's commanding. This commandment is coming from something that he made up. Something that you can't find in the law, statutes, and commandments of the Lord. And now he's enforcing it on you. Right? It says, because that was my whole problem. We got into it based off not me breaking the law, statutes, commandments, based off a guy feeling. Right? I don't look up to you as being a leader over me, or the same thing as saying I don't look at you as being a rabbi or a master over me. I look at you as a brother. This is what Matthew 23 verse 8 down is saying. It says, "Neither be ye called master." So what's wrong with me telling brother I don't look at you as being like a leader over me, bro? I look at us as being we're peers. We're peers, which is saying we're brothers. Peers is no different than saying, look, we're brothers. It's not, I know the definition, but I'm just saying, like, in the truth, that means that we're brothers. I don't look at you as being a leader over me. He got mad about that. But what is this saying? This saying neither be ye called master, for one is your master, even a Mashiach. And that's all I'm saying. Wait, we got a father. We got a master. Why we got to be masters over each other? Actually, if you want to talk about the order of the Lord, let's go to the order of the Lord. These guys are confusing the order of the Mafia with the order of the Lord because they're really following men. The order of men. This is the order of the Lord. 1 Corinthians chapter 11. Very simple. The law, statutes, commandments is the order of the Lord. And this is like the ranking system of the Lord. 1 Corinthians 11, verse 1. "Be ye followers of me, even as I am of," it says, "of Christ, of Hamashiach. Now I praise you, brethren, that ye remember me in all things, and keep the ordinance as I deliver them to you. But I will have you know that the head of every man is Yahweh Shai, right? And the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Yahweh Shai is Yahweh." So that's the ranking system. Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, man, woman. Every man is the king and the head of his own household. And then God said, okay, so if we're all just brothers, and you're the king of your household, and I'm the king of my household, then how could we come together and do anything together in decency and order? Well, the answer to that is keep the law, statutes, and commandments amongst each other. That's how we could come together amongst decency and order, is by keeping the law, statutes, commandments, not trying to put a ranking system over brothers. Don't do this, don't do this. If you do this, this is the punishment. That's the law, statutes, commandments. That's how we come together. Not boss, underboss, capo, soldiers, associates, apostle, up and coming apostles, leaders or slash elders, leaders of the camps, members, and then brothers that's trying to get into the group. I'm just pointing out the similarities. That's all I'm doing. Let's go to here. I want to try to find this video so I can. Okay, this is the video on my channel from 10 months ago. GMS open invitation to join. Told you, right? So let's play it. The comment board where I asked him, he still was just so hell bent on, you can't do your own thing, right? We have an order to set up, and you can't just be a part of GMS and do your own thing. Now watch this.
So man, we out here pushing the word, and what's happening? Brothers are waking up, and it's growing more. We welcome some new brothers in the camp this weekend. So it's growing, and these brothers were already doing the work on their own, right? And they could have continued to do so, but we invited them into our inner circle, and they were glad to come. And they're brothers, and we told them they could still keep doing their own thing.
Oh, wait, what was that? He said, wait, we invited them in, and we told them that they could still do their own thing. So, backstory on this is when it was a brother that he had something personal against me that he still hasn't repented from, and he was saying pretty much, long story short, I asked the apostle, what would it take to be a part of GMS? How can you join GMS? On a comment board, he gave me an answer, which was kind of open for me to just take the interpretation of, you pretty much already is a part of it. So I went and put GMS on my name on YouTube. The brother came on of course, this brother that has a problem, not any other brother, just this brother that has a problem with me. Of course, he was the one that popped up on my comment board first, saying, who told you to put that? As if I have to answer to him. I don't have to answer to you, bro. I went and talked to the apostle. It's none of your business. You see what I'm saying? But that's the whole going back to the Mafia order shit. He think that it is because he think that he's over me, right? And he said you can't do your own thing, man, and just ask the apostle something and then just be claiming to be GMS and you can't do your own thing. That's what he said. Now you see in this video, one of the apostles, the top 4, said, this is Apostle Rakah, that's what it says, of GMS. He said you could keep doing your own thing, which is what I told the brother. But if he felt so much better than me, I told him to go ask him. Rather than just going and asking him, he started this whole thing and just make a guess what he did to try to tarnish my name. Guess what he tried to do to tarnish my name? The number one thing, the reason why the Mafia closed the books, he tried to say that I was an agent. No proof, just all feelings, and he tried to put the agent thing on me to tarnish my name. So this guy has been exposed, man. Because, go ask him, do you have any proof that Kadash, Israelite covenant, or do you have any hard evidence proof without a reasonable doubt that he's an agent? So why? And then if he say no, then ask him, well, why did you bring it up? And then if he starts pointing out things, well, he crossed the line, he got on the camera, tell him to shut the fuck up, man, and repent. What?
Right? And they could have continued to do so, but we invited them into our inner circle, and they were glad to come. And they're brothers, and we told them they could still keep doing their own thing.
What was that? He said, wait, we invited them in, and we told them that they could still do their own thing. Meaning, however they got camp set up, whatever city they doing camp.
A few weeks back, other brothers that
Yeah, because that's what they was telling me. You can't be a camp out there in just a city and then start calling yourself GMS because you follow. That's what they was trying to tell me. But the apostle literally just said that they could keep doing their own thing and still be a part of us. So they opened the books. That's why I said this happened after, that's how the spirit works.
Wait, we was GMS affiliate. We know we was pushing the same doctrine. Yep. We was giving all praises, double honors to the apostles before every camp. You know what I mean? We was, comment board on different brothers' channels. Different brothers used to come to my comment board and just give blessings and stuff like that and comment on the videos. So I mean, it was so many different GMS members. I got GMS members that is subscribed to the channel. A lot of them left after all that bullshit happened, but I got a lot of that's obviously subscribed to the channel. That's how they were able to even find that video because they were subbed to the channel, man. Now he said, look, I'm gonna run it back, man. This is crazy. Check this out. Now, when I was trying to tell them this, they didn't want to hear it. But now that they apostles saying it, let's see if they would hear it. And I want to say this too, man.
Where's the repentance? Hey, bro, that shit that happened on YouTube, you did try to tell us, hey, our bad, we should have never said you was an agent because we got no proof. You know what I mean? And the apostles did come out and say the same exact thing that you were saying. Nothing. But you want to know what? They don't feel like it. But you got to be careful when you deal with the Lord because the Lord going to hold it against you. But they don't really fear the Lord's going to hold it against them. Because they under delusion. They just fear the men holding something. The men that they look up to, the apostles holding something against them. That's it. But the Lord going to get you, man. The Lord going to hold that against you. Whether it tips the scales towards you not being elect, or maybe your scales may still be tipped towards you being elect. We got to find out.
If brothers do see this video, I need some type of apology video. This ain't about your
I'm calling for an apology.
Right, reach out to me on the comment boards. Make a video on what he... Could somebody get like the definition of open invitation? So we got an open invitation, and he said, "Look, we're brothers and for years to her, but who exactly did right?" So DMS thing because they said, "Look, we gotta order this."
Open invitation, man.
Open invitation.
If y'all want to, y'all can put GMS on your name, which means you brothers are officially on the roster. You see?
Right. So that's the thing. I asked Apostle Tahar that this all happened, I believe, because of the incident that happened with me. I asked Apostle Tahar if I could. He gave me an open answer, which pretty much was like, "Hey, you could do what you want to do, because you pretty much already is. You could do what you want to do." So if he wanted to say no, he could have just said, he grown man, he could have just said, "No, you cannot." So the answer he gave me was like, "Look, you could pretty much do what you want to do if you could put GMS on your name." And when I did it, these other guys, the leaders or the capos from other different camps in St. Louis, Kansas City, came out and condemned me for doing it. Then a couple months later, the apostles come out and say exactly what I was saying. "Hey, you guys you affiliates, you could go ahead and put GMS on your name." I'm just showing you. I mean, don't you know what I mean? I'm just showing you the similarities, which was what them opening the books. Because what did we just read about the Mafias, the 5 families? They closed the books in 1957, and then they reopened the books. I'm just pointing out all the similarities. With that, I'm gonna say salvation to the elect. Shalom.